Buddy.
Hey, Patrick, thanks for
Hey,
joining. How are
Patrick.
you?
Hey, yeah, so I have been classified as disabled since 2020, right in the middle of COVID. In the meantime, I have a 31-year-old young adult son who's intellectually disabled. I don't know if everybody up here knows what that is. Back in the day, you would say mentally retarded. We don't use that word anymore. And it's just so frustrating because that diagnosis kind of tells you everything and nothing at the same time. And we applied, and actually have a daughter who applied, and she did get disability because of some specific healthcare reasons. But it was just like ongoing waiting and waiting. It rejected. He appealed. He had an attorney. We did all the things, and he's still rejected. And so we just gave up. It was just ongoing for like years. It was, I think, I applied for his before I applied for mine, actually. And we just gave up. But I'm kind of at the point now because he's had more hospitalizations. He's had several things, and things are very delicate. And I'm getting afraid that if something happens to him, I won't have any kind of safety net for him, or any kind of. I don't know what to do. Honestly, I don't know what to do. Can you all give me any insight at all? What I should do?
I'd like to learn a little bit more about the situation first. Is there any work history, Patrick?
Yeah, there is work history, which is why, of course, initially it was a lot of work history, which is why he got rejected initially. When he came here, we registered him with vocational rehabilitation, and they tried to get him. They got him some job training, they got him placement, but it would always feel like he can't stay on the job because people have a hard time. The jobs are not trained. They don't have people trained to work with people who have learning disabilities and mental health disabilities. They just, want you to come to the job and come to work and do the job.
Right.
But the kind of emotional distress that he would go through would always end him up in the hospital. He would always end up with a hospitalization.
Got it.
And that pattern has still been the case.
So I want to pause you there. Stay with me on this. When was the last time he worked?
He is working now. He has a placement through Easter Seals, which is sort of cognizant of the situation. So
Right.
he's only working. He's working 3 days a week for about 5 hours a day. That's about all he could tolerate.
Okay. So he's insured for Social Security. Does that language sound familiar to you? Like he would be eligible to get a check. He's worked enough.
No, I'm not familiar with that. Okay, so I didn't have custody of him when he was a child, and I wasn't privy to a lot of that kind of information. So I was told to inquire about that, but I just didn't get anywhere.
Okay, so if you look at, say, he's 31, you said, so let's look at, say, the last 3 years. What percentage of the time has he worked? Like 20, 50, 60% of the time?
If I had to put a number on it, I would say maybe 30% of the time. But It's kind of hard because it's been up and down and off and on. Sometimes he's gone long periods with no work at all because
Right.
he couldn't manage it. Sometimes he did, like I said, the best advice I was given was to go through VR, and they would kind of try to help manage that. And he has kind of gone through several different contractors who work with VR. And one of them, the first one, which was my favorite one, they worked really closely with him. And but they kind of came to the conclusion after a couple of hospitalizations, they were like, he's just not able to do it. And they wrote him this really nice long letter recommending that he should be qualified. But when he went through the disability process, it was just
Right.
didn't get it anywhere.
Yeah. And so I'll come back to that in a minute. The doctors that he's seeing, is he in consistent treatment?
Well, the short answer is I don't know because, like I said, he's an adult now. And he doesn't live with me, but he lives close by. I help him manage his affairs as best as I can, but I don't have guardianship over him. It's just I just am in a situation where I'm not sure what to do.
Right.
I've asked around. I can't afford a lawyer because I'm barely trying to warn myself.
Sure.
And I've asked the people who are supposed to be in the know, and they don't really seem to know exactly what to do.
Okay.
There is some community organization who's supposed to be working with him. They said they're going to try to help him apply for disability again. What I worry about is the limbo of the whole situation. Are we looking at another 5-year track of him being applying, being rejected, trying to reapply, appealing, just for to ultimately end up rejecting again? I just don't have it in me to bounce back from things like I used to. My health is bad, and sometimes I feel like I'm holding on by a thread.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Patrick, what's his name?
His name is Patrick Hatch Jr.
Patrick.
Junior.
I'm senior.
So maybe you can get him to listen to the replay of this. Just send him the link. Here's the steps. The first thing is with the other Patrick, your son, is if he is in a situation right now where he knows he can't work like full time, and he's working a little bit right now, he said like 5 hours a week, then he really needs to look himself in the mirror and say, listen, I need to do something about this. And he's young. That's part of the challenge. And my position with, even if he was, in his 50s, I would say, look at it as a short-term solution, getting your disability income, and then returning to work. Because in the big picture of things, he could go through the process, get approved, and still work and earn the same amount of money that he is right now and keeping his benefits because he's earning a low amount of money, right? So the steps for him would be make sure that he is in treatment for all of the conditions that he has, because as a young individual, Social Security is going to look at this Patrick and say, oh my God, we got to pay him for years, right? And that's one of the reasons, in my opinion and experience, it's so hard to get young individuals approved. We've helped lots, but it needs to be done right. So look himself in the mirror, treatment for everything. And then as far as the approval process is going through, he will likely get denied at the initial application. What state are you in?
North Carolina.
He'll get denied again at the reconsideration and have to go to a hearing again. That's just the way it is. But he'll still be able to maintain that work. Now, listen, if he can pivot and he can return to work full time, you can always stop the application. It doesn't cost you anything except, angst. So I want to address your the attorney concern. Now, here at the Disability Digest, at the end of the program, I'll show people how they can get involved and they can get access to a course and do it all on their own. But if you want to use a disability representative, which could be an attorney or a non-attorney representative, there is a fee structure that is performance-based that requires no money up front for most of the people that do the work. They only get paid if they win the case. So what that means is somebody that takes a case like Patrick's, they got to really scrutinize it and say, all right, if I invest in this, Patrick, am I going to get my money back?
Right.
So when they get paid on a percentage of the back benefits every month that he's proven to be out of work, there's 25%. It's a standard contract that every representative has with the Social Security Administration. So you can take your hands out of your pocket. It shouldn't, not going to cost you any money. But if Patrick chooses to go this route, he would be allocating a percentage of his back benefits in exchange for that professional assistance. Okay. So I hope that has given you some like insight as what to do. The main thing is, if he continues to just work a little bit and not apply, he could potentially lose his access if he's eligible for Social Security benefits. It could go away because it expires after like 5 years of low to no income.
Okay.
And then that's when you're going to have a problem, because he has access to low to no resources, social assistance, right? And that's where it could get really expensive for you. So definitely, as a parent, you want to keep that in mind to mitigate your potential, exposure.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Did you
right.
have a second question?
No, you covered it.
Okay, good. Thank you for joining us. Hey, let us know what happens. We'd love to hear the outcome of this, and with the other Patrick, that'd be great. All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Patrick.